Hello and welcome to the Amazing Nerdiverse. I'm Jeff Grant.
I'm Steven Tugert.
This is going to be our spoiler review
We're going to talk about
Panther.
Everything.
So if you have not seen Black Panther yet, do not watch this video. We have a non-spoiler review. Go check that out.
Yeah.
We don't spoil anything.
Yeah.
I promise.
Unless you accidentally posted this one instead of the other one.
I probably will do that.
This is the one where we're going to talk about all the stuff we liked, all the stuff we also liked, and other stuff.
That's the parameters. Everything right there that he just said. The movie starts off with like this great kind of origin story kind of thing where it kind of tells you everything you need to know about Wakanda, what it's all about, where it came from, the establishing of the city, and what the Black Panther is. The Black Panther, the protector of Wakanda.
Kind of like what they did in Wonder Woman, where there's like a voiceover and they kind of show you.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah. Because this is the first time we're really exploring this new location, Wakanda. You spend the majority of the movie in Wakanda.
That's true.
And Wakanda is such an amazing, just a fascinating location to explore and learn about in this film. And I love that we get to spend so much time learning about what it is, what the traditions and stuff like that are.
Did you know there's a Wakanda, Illinois?
Is there?
Yeah.
I wonder if they filmed this there.
No. I saw that on Jimmy Kimmel.
Wakanda,
because
Illinois.
Chadwick Boseman was talking about the accent, how he kind of figured it out. And then Jimmy Kimmel was like, I mean, there is a Wakanda, Illinois. I don't know if you...
You worked that in the accent. You were saying in our non-spoiler review, talking about the technology. Talk a little bit about that.
Vibranium is a big part of it. It's like meteorite came down. Is that what it is? Meteorite or meteor? Yeah. Whatever. Huge, big old mess of vibranium smacked into Africa, and they use that to build up their nation and their all their technology and their buildings and everything. And
vibranium is so rare. It's the most rare, and it's the strongest metal on Earth and all that stuff. That just a little bit of it is worth a lot of money. So that's how this they keep calling it a third world nation in the film, and it's absolutely not. If you ever go there and see it, but
I hear it's nice this time of year.
The riches all came from vibranium. Everything they have.
And I thought that they would just use it for weapons and armor and stuff, but they also use it for medical stuff. They were healing people and
communications and all this stuff.
All kinds of applications for it.
Yeah, it's more than just the suit or cap shield or stuff like that. Vibranium has a lot, and because of that, it attracts some negative, some villainous people trying to exploit that, and we see a little bit of that in. I mean, one of the bigger villains in the film, Ulysses Claw, Andy Serkis' character, he was selling vibranium in Age of Ultron. Mm-hmm. We see that's always kind of his goal, his aim is to get some of that vibranium and get rich off of it. Andy Serkis is great in this film. I love that character of Ulysses Claw. I think he's fascinating. It's a character that I didn't know much about, learning a little bit as I was reading a little bit of Black Panther stuff in the comics. I didn't realize he's big on his main weapon is sound. It's all about sound waves and stuff. So in this movie, he lost
yelling at people.
Yeah, exactly. No, he lost his arm. Ultron cut his arm off. Yeah. In Age of Ultron, and now he's got this prosthetic arm that kind of splits off and has this little shockwave thing that is
shooting people with
sound. It's just sheer sound waves. And that's all this stuff, him shattering glass with it and knocking people back and all that stuff. I thought that was really cool, incorporating that, because I didn't know what that hand was going to be, because before I read the comics, I wasn't really familiar with that part of it. Yeah. Speaking of the comics, there are a lot of elements from the comics incorporated into this movie.
Like what?
Obviously characters and stuff like that, and roles and stuff, but little things one of the things is in the comics, there's this thing about, once a year they open it up, kind of like John Cena's open challenge thing.
Okay, so every year,
come get some.
If someone wants to be the king,
if they want to be the king, they have to beat the king.
Yeah.
To quote another wrestler, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
That sounds exhausting. If I was the king, I'd be like, can we just do it every other year?
Is the time again?
Or
I gotta fight to the death again.
Look, guys, I got a lot going on right now. Can we just can we? I don't know. Next year? Next year, totally. This year,
I'll make it up. I'll do 2 next year. we see that, and that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like I didn't know much about that, but in the movie they did this thing where like he drank this stuff and it took the Black Panther powers away. Which, if you don't know anything about the Black Panther's powers, it originates from this, like, they call it a heart-shaped herb, and it's like this really cool glowy purple thing that's like comes from a flower, and they grind it up and they make a thing and they drink it, and that gives him the strength and and the just withstand and like the healing factor and all those things that you associate with a character like a Black Panther.
But it's actually spleen-shaped.
Spleen-shaped herb.
Yeah.
Them taking that away, it just makes just a straight up man-on-man fight. And we see him fight against M'Baku, I think his name is. I think that's Winston Duke's character. In the comics, he's called Man-Ape, which could be a problematic name for a character in 2018 in a film, but he was a great character. He, the way he was played out, and not just this big moment of the fight there on Warrior Falls, I believe is the name of the waterfall. They're fighting there, and that whole scene with everybody cheering him on and him fighting, and just all the different tribes standing around the 5 tribes of Wakanda, and just that scene was awesome. And then they call back to that later on, but we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, it was really cool.
They're trying to hunt down Claw, right? So they're in like this bar casino type thing.
Yeah,
and they're like
very Bond-like scene.
We got to be all like sneaky, so they're using like earpieces and stuff. They're like, oh, he's over here. No, he's over there. Shh, I got him. There's like 6 dudes, and then they start fighting everybody, right? And then there's like Stan Lee's like grabbing like casino chips.
I love Stan Lee's cameo.
Yeah.
Black Panther leaves a bet, just walks away. He wins, and Everett
Stan
Ross,
Lee
Martin
comes
Freeman.
He says, "I got it. I'll just take it."
He's like, I'll just go ahead and he just takes his chips and takes his winnings. It was just a fun little unexpected cameo. Like not unexpected. You always expect Stan Lee, but that's not where I would have thought to put him. Even though it makes sense, obviously, it's like the one place outside of Wakanda it makes sense. But like in that moment, I wasn't thinking, all right, here's where Stan Lee comes in, and he just slides into the frame. I'm just gonna take that. And it was just such a well played joke.
Yeah. Black Panther's sister makes like all kinds of like gizmos and gadgets.
She is one of my favorite characters in the movie.
She's like making him all kinds of gizmos and gadgets for him to fight. She comes up with like a new way for him to wear his keep his suit without having to take off his helmet every 2 seconds to talk to somebody.
Yeah,
it's like on his necklace. He like does something, presses a button, and it just kind of forms over him, and it's like that super vibranium, and it absorbs like bullets and all kinds of like getting kicked and stuff, and then he punches you back, and it's with that same force. Yeah,
the suit kind of absorbs kinetic energy and then releases it, and that was a really cool addition. I don't know if they've ever done anything like that in the comics or anything. I haven't read a lot of Black Panther comics, but it just seemed like something that was a cool addition for this movie. If it wasn't the comics, sure. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
it's a lot more convenient for him to just have that necklace in it.
And they use it multiple times in the movie. And every time they use it, it was really well done. On the other hand, there's other technologies and stuff that she introduces that
they didn't get to.
Don't think they ever even used it in the movie.
Like sneakers.
Yeah, there's this great moment where she's talking to him, and she's like, no, the real question is, what are those? And like points at he's wearing these sandals, these old school sandals on his first day as king. And that caught me so off guard. And like in the Wakandan accent and stuff, it's just really funny. And then she points out she's got these like shoe things that she made that, you just step onto pretty much, they look like insoles almost. And you step on them and they just kind of, and like form over the feet. And like, she's like, I call them sneakers. It's like, it's just kind of thing that you would do. It's like, I call them sneakers. Get it? And just that all the time.
Oh.
You just got it.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Oh, yeah,
when we saw it.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Okay, cool.
Because, like... What?
So Shuri was like my favorite new character in this movie. Like, she's my favorite character to meet in this, and we learn a lot about, and that relationship is fantastic. The brother-sister relationship there. And while we're still kind of, on the relationship of the T'Challa's family, his mother's Angela Bassett, and she's great in the movie. She doesn't have a very meaty role in comparison to some of the other characters, but she's very regal and very, like, motherly, and like, she's a queen. Like, she really sells that aspect of it. But, I was also really pleased to see John Connie come back from Civil War. He played King T'Chaka, who died in Civil War during the bombing by Zemo. You see a couple little clips of that, but the cool thing is, right up front, after that big, long opening, and I want to go back and see it, because that opening we talked about, that origin story kind of thing, I don't know it sounded like it's a little boy asking his father to tell him a story, and I thought first time I saw it, I thought it could be young T'Challa asking T'Chaka to tell him the story.
That's kind of how it seems at first.
But
then...
later on, it reveals, like, right after that scene, you see a scene with Sterling K. Brown, who's in the movie. 1992, in Oakland, California, you see Sterling K. Brown's character in this, like, little apartment and everything. And, like, you see him and his buddy Dave or whatever, I think it was. They're working out some plan for some robbery or some kind of heist or some kind of sale or something like that.
I think it's a sale of the vibranium.
Yeah.
We don't know it yet, but that's what it was.
Yeah, and so then these two women show up at the door. They say there's two women with spears. He says let them in. They come in and it's two of the Dora Milaje, and they say announce the king, whatever. The lights go out and then they come back on and Black Panther is there. The original Black Panther, or not original, but the one, the previous.
Helmet and it's Stanley.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. The lights go out and it comes back on and it's T'Chaka. But I really liked seeing this previous iteration of the Black Panther, establishing that lineage and everything. I thought was really cool, and he looked cool. It was a slightly different costume and stuff like that. But I love those kind of things, like they did with like Ant-Man and stuff, and like they're doing with Captain Marvel. It's kind of fleshing out the history of the MCU a little more.
It makes it fun. Like if you go back and watch like Iron Man, like those other, like with this in mind, like those other things are kind of
happening off on the side, and all these different adventures. Sterling K. Brown's character is his brother and everything, and they established that Sterling K. Brown has been selling vibranium to people like Ulysses Claw and everything, and so he's like, you have to come back to Wakanda and answer for your crimes, and then they reveal that his buddy Dave is also Wakanda. They have this cool thing where they got like these little blue like tattoos on the inside of their lips and everything, and they kind of glow and everything.
Did it say anything?
It was in like Wakanda like text. Like every time there was like a transition, it would say it in Wakanda, and then it would translate it to American. So like it would say blah blah, and then it would be present day and stuff like that. So it was like that kind of text in there, and they were called war dogs. I believe that Wakanda has spies all over the world. And so they established that this spy had a spy spying on him, thought it was his buddy, thought it was like his best friend, which, if it turns out you were a spy, a lot of things would make sense.
Why? That's weird that you would bring that up.
No, you wouldn't.
That's weird.
You're not a spy.
Oh.
You're barely competent at everyday life. Sterling K. Brown's character tries to kill his buddy.
Wakanda forever!
Yeah. And T'Chaka has to kill his own brother to protect his other, fellow Wakandan. And later on, it's revealed that that buddy was Forrest Whitaker's character when he was younger, and so that was kind of cool, establishing these three characters in the past. But what you go on to learn later is that he had a son. Sterling K. Brown's character had a son, and that was Eric Stevens. They said it was. Nope. And then he later chose the name Killmonger. He's been killing people. He's got these little what are they, little dots, bumpy kind of things.
Scars,
yeah, and he gave him one for every kill he has, and when he takes off his shirt later, he's just covered in these things.
And he's
been killing people like crazy, preparing for the day that he would come back to take the throne of Wakanda.
I've been doing push-ups.
Yeah.
All push-ups.
Okay. I thought this character, this origin story, this guy whose brother killed him and everything, despite the fact that he was betraying his country, killed him, and it was a very powerful motivation for this young kid, because it shows them playing basketball outside the building, and then you see this one little boy look up, and they see the ship, the Wakanda ship, fly off in the clouds, and at first you're just like, oh cool, there's a kid, just whoa, they just saw what they thought is a spaceship. But really, later you learn that this kid probably knew what that was.
Yeah.
His father told him about Wakanda. He always dreamed of going there. His father wanted to take him back to Wakanda, show him that it's the most beautiful place in the world, most beautiful sunsets and all this stuff. That opportunity was taken away from him. So he devoted himself to getting back and taking over Wakanda and everything. So he partners up with Ulysses Claw, and you see a lot of stuff like that. And he eventually betrays Claw. And I thought that was kind of a bummer, because I really liked Andy Serkis as Claw.
Yeah.
And it was just such a great character playing those two movies. I hope he said in interviews and stuff he'd love to come back and play the character again. Character's dad, but there's there's history there. So, I mean, if we're seeing, like, Captain Marvel in the 90s, I don't know why, but, I mean, then again, like, I wouldn't have expected to see Klaue show up in Age of Ultron either.
Yeah.
And they can always find ways of including things like that, so maybe the reference here and there. They're kind of been working on expanding that back history, so you never know. Maybe he will pop up again
someday. Does Black Panther have to be the king?
The king doesn't have to be Black Panther, I don't think.
Okay.
Because when T'Chaka was king,
mm-hmm.
Black Panther, or T'Challa was Black Panther.
Okay, I see.
So then, because he said in Civil War, he's like, now I'm the Black Panther and the king.
I see, okay.
I think usually the Black Panther is king, but what I think it is, he was king, and then when he became too old to be Black Panther, he stayed the king.
Gotcha.
Then T'Challa became Black Panther. There's a lot of stuff going on.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and like...
I gotta do both?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was just getting good at this one. Like, now I gotta add diplomacy to all that. And like, leading this nation becomes a big thing, and he's already got all this stuff to worry about. Now this guy shows up. Killed Ulysses Klaue, shows up. They were after Klaue. They wanted to bring him back. And Daniel Kaluuya's character, W'Kabi, his father was killed by Ulysses Klaue. So he's like urging T'Challa to kill Ulysses Klaue or bring him back to face justice. And when he fails at doing both of those things in that great like casino sequence,
I'd like to see him try it. It didn't look easy.
Yeah, he's just hanging out petting rhinos and shit. Like, do something about it.
You know what I liked?
Yeah.
So there's this big car chase scene, all kinds of cool, crazy stunts. And there's one scene, you see it in the trailer, so it's, I mean, this is a spoiler anyway, but car flips and he jumps up and he's like running across running across a building. Like in that second, he's like, I hope I know how to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I hope this works the way I think it's going to work. And he just runs across the...
There's a lot of improvisation as superheroes doing these kind of things. Like Spider-Man does that a lot. Black Panther. And like, the cool thing is, like, one of the things like I love about Spider-Man in film is seeing that character move in live action. And Black Panther's another character that, like, seeing the way that guy moves, the way, like, the visuals of, like, that character moving and jumping from car to car and stuff like that is fantastically done. And, like, so they did that great chase scene, but he fails at capturing Klaue. Or they capture him, but then he escapes. Killmonger helps him escape.
They kind of get caught off guard in that interrogation scene.
Yeah, and then Killmonger kills Klaue, brings his body to Wakanda, and drops it off there in front of...
Do you think that was the plan all along, or was he going to like do something else and he kind of was like, all right, here's a better
probably
idea.
Was the plan all along.
All right.
Yeah, because his ultimate goal is always getting back to Wakanda and getting a foot in the door, and that was a strong way to do it, to at least get some people to side with him. Like W'Kabi and some of those characters, getting them to say he's got an army now. W'Kabi, he's like... this guy did what his king couldn't do. He killed Klaue, and like that he brought justice to his father's murder and everything.
Which is a little unfair because that's like his first time going out trying to do it.
Yeah, he's here to challenge T'Challa for the throne, and so we see another one of those great challenge sequences in the fight scenes on top of the waterfall. He again evens the score, gets rid of the thing, and so. How are you feeling during this moment, during this fight on top of the waterfall?
Uneasy. I didn't like it because...
You already saw it go in his favor the first time.
And so I know, like, you know, because how movies work, like, the second time around, he's not gonna... it might not come out so hot. And, like, technically, I guess he was fighting fair, but there was one moment, like, when Killmonger has, like, a knife, and he's on the ground, and he kind of slices up at him, and he, like... kind of goes and like kind of he's
cuts his like inner thigh.
No, he's trying to cut that dude's plums off. Like he's like getting up in there. Like I winced. I was like,
you trying to deplumb him?
He's trying to deplumb that man. It's two separate. It's one thing to try to like dethrone the king and be the king. It's another thing to like deplumb a man,
deplumb the king, and
then kick him off a ledge. That's messed up.
Yeah, he didn't kick him off. He lifted him up and just went yoink. Just dropped his ass off.
Larry Bird.
And like, that was just
it was like Darth Vader and with the Emperor. He just picked him up and just said,
just bye. And like, so that was just a awesome, like, very powerful thing. And like, he defeated him in straight one-on-one fair combat, dumped his ass off the waterfall, and he was like, I'm the king now. And that was really cool seeing that, and like
messed up.
It was. I mean, it was messed up, but you know, Black Panther. It's called Black Panther. It's not called Killmonger. he's going to come back and win the day eventually.
There's a good bit of time where he wasn't on screen, though.
Yeah, like it's not like you saw him drifting down the river. You don't see him land or any of that. He just fades off into the mist, and you don't see him for a good maybe 5-10 minutes.
I'll bet you it was more like 10 to 15 minutes.
Really?
I think
it was a good minute. There was a lot of stuff happened because you see him become the king.
Mm-hmm.
You see the people talking about we got to get T'Challa's mother and sister getting out of there.
Yep.
Nakia's helping them get out. Danai Gurira's character, the leader of the Dora Milaje, she is talking about how she's loyal to the throne no matter who sits in that, and that was a great moment for her because you're like, why would she? She's
just trying to follow the rules.
She's just doing her job, man.
And she's like, look, even though he tried to cut that man's plums off, I gotta be loyal to the king, I guess.
Yeah. One of the things I love is the first time around after the waterfall sequence and stuff, the challenge thing. You see him you see T'Challa get his powers back, and then he has this kind of vision quest thing where he sees this great tree and all these panthers in it, and one comes down and it turns into his father, and it's that's another great thing from the comics, all the ancestors and stuff like that, the previous Black Panthers. So that was really cool. It has a great emotional scene there with his father. Love that. And then when you see Killmonger do it, he kind of has his own thing where he goes to, instead of that, the tree and all that stuff, he goes to his childhood home, that apartment, where you see him finding his father's body and stuff, and then you see him now talking to his father.
I caught it that it was in that plane, kind of outside in the window. I wish they would have kind of made it a little bit more skewed. I mean, I get it that it's his apartment and but maybe just a little bit more
It just felt like a regular scene.
Yeah.
As opposed to kind of like a dream.
Yeah, a little bit. That's the only thing I'd be I wish they would have made it a little bit more askew and kind of,
And that was another wonderful scene between father and son there in that instance. Nakia takes T'Challa's mother and sister to the mountains with the mountain tribe and everything. And you see M'Baku and everything, the king, they steal one of the herbs, the heart-shaped herbs. Because Killmonger's destroy the rest of them. No more. Well, this is for future Black Panthers. There's no more Black Panthers.
Nah, me.
So he takes, and so Nakia steals one, gives it, and they take it, and they're trying to offer it to.
Wait, what is the thing? Did it heal him?
Well, it would heal him, but it would also give him the Black Panther powers.
So why wouldn't he?
I don't know why he wouldn't want it. Wouldn't want to keep those around, but it's just that arrogance, and there's an arrogance to him as a leader, where there's almost a childlike. Yeah. It's also a very childlike point of view, because when he takes over the throne, he's talking about his ultimate plan. Very first time he sits on the throne, he's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take all this, all the Wakanda's technology and weapons, and we're going to give it to the oppressed. And they'll rise up against the rich leaders and stuff. And this is his goal. And just that moment was one of the things I was a little nitpicky about. It was a great, it totally made sense, the motivation for the character and all that stuff. But I wish it was it was done a little stronger in the moment. I felt like he just sets down. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe let that scene breathe a little bit. Maybe let the performance draw you in a little more. And he just kind of sat there and just all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this, 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 this. And it felt very much like a childlike, arrogant kind of. Yeah. This is what it's gonna happen. I'm the king now. We're gonna do things my way. That sort of thing. Whenever you see that bratty little punk become king. Yeah. Like Joffrey in Game of Thrones is all right, it's my time to be the leader and we're going to do what I say. And that bugged me a little bit because he was such a stronger character up until that point. But his motivations, like I said, all that stuff were very solid. I just would have liked that scene, maybe the performance and stuff like that a little more.
I wanted to see, because he kind of gave his backstory on, what he did to get... I would have liked, while he's telling it, to kind of get little flashbacks of him doing... A, B, and C. Yeah. I would have liked more time with that character.
Yeah, they keep talking about him being a CIA operative and everything, and you don't see any evidence of that. It's just exposition from Everett Ross and everything. Yeah. So yeah, when T'Challa's family runs away, his ex-girlfriend, we didn't mention that. She's Nakia, Lupita Nyong'o's character is his ex-girlfriend, and there's there's a romantic angle there.
Does she need no man?
No woman in this movie needs no man. The women in this movie are incredible, and they talk about Wonder Woman was such a big movie for women and stuff, and they were talking about how Black Panther is such a big movie for the African American community. This is also a big movie for women because there's a lot of incredible women in this movie. Like,
they don't need no
really
man.
Cool. None of them do. Dora Milaje don't need no man. So they go to the leader of the mountain tribe, whatever, and they have this heart-shaped herb. They offer it to him, and he was like, "Wait a minute!" And he takes them to T'Challa. Mm-hmm. T'Challa is like buried in snow and everything, and they're keeping him alive. And I love that moment because earlier he was willing to fight him to the death.
Yeah.
To take over as the king of Wakanda.
Well, he's just playing by the rules.
Yeah, but he also T'Challa earned his respect.
Yeah.
And even in this moment when T'Challa is like could be dead, he could kill him like that. Yeah. But when T'Challa let him go, like he basically had him and was choking him out and was like saying give up, and he forced him to like tap out and everything. When he did that, like he kind of earned his respect a little bit and let him live and all that stuff, and so he kind of returned the favor. I really like that aspect of it, and that was a great character too.
It's hard to be a good man and a king.
Yeah, that was a big theme in the movie. Like that was something that John Connie says to T'Chaka says to T'Challa in their first like Vision Quest sequence thing, and we get another one of those now that they give the heart-shaped herb back to. They restore the Black Panther powers to T'Challa. He's buried in the snow, and he has another one of those things.
That's the moment that made me cry when he's talking to his dad. Then
that time,
yeah, because like, you were wrong, and I was like,
yeah. He's basically telling his father he was wrong for handling situations where they left that child there in America, without a father. Yeah, to grow up angry and eventually come back on them. Like he's not wrong. Like he was
really upset with him because he's like, look. You did this, and then that dude came back and tried to cut off my plums.
Yeah.
That's why he's angry.
Yeah. I believe that line was in the movie.
Yeah.
Try to cut off my plums, Dad! So yeah, after that, T'Challa's back, and he comes back to...
As soon as he wakes up, he's like, give me a blanket.
Yeah, I like that.
There was
a lot of funny moments in the movie.
Yeah.
I like that one. There was the, what are those? Like, I love that. And the Stan Lee thing. And I also love, there's a moment just before they take... the leader of the mountain tribe takes them to T'Challa. Everett Ross, who's with them the whole time, he gets injured during Killmonger helps Claw escape. He gets injured during all that. They take him to Wakanda to rescue him because their technology and healthcare and all that stuff is so much better. So he's there throughout the whole, and he's just kind of bumbling around for a lot of it. He's just kind of there. And Martin Freeman's great. I love Martin Freeman.
Yeah, he's
just kind of there in a lot of stuff, and it kind of like a little bit shoehorn him into the action of the main finale, whatever. But there's some little great moments like this where he's like he tries to talk, and every time he tries to talk, all the mountain tribe people are just like barking at him. They're like, roo, roo. And like I don't know, it sounded like barking. I don't know, it was like maybe like ape noises because there's like the gorilla is like his they call him gorilla or whatever at one point, and like he's man ape in the comics. They kind of bark at him or whatever, and it's like they're like, no more talking to you. You say one more word, and I'm going to feed you to my children. It was quiet for a moment. He's like, I'm kidding. We're vegetarian.
Yeah, not a vegetarian. You don't look that swollen. Just eat like leaves.
Yeah, I don't know. He's probably eating a lot of meat, a lot of proteins. Yeah,
I mean, like kidney beans have protein, but not that much.
Yes, he looks like he's eating straight up kidneys. Guy was a monster. He was awesome. He was huge.
Yeah,
liked that character a lot.
All right, so we get to the very end. The big battle is coming up because that's how all these movies work.
The big battle was a little bit bigger than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
there's a lot going in there.
It was big, but it was also like personal because there's like a couple of independent fights going on that all kind of connect. So Black Panther shows up. He shoots one of the. Well, what were they doing? Killmonger was going to deliver...
Yeah, the weapons. Yeah, the weapons that they were talking about sending out to all the oppressed. Yeah. They were implementing that plan and sending them out in the ships.
Then Black Panther comes in his ship, blasts it out of the sky, and like out of the wreckage, he like comes out. He's like, hey, I'm alive, so this motherfucker ain't the king, right? This is the part that annoyed me.
Danai Gurira, she's like, all right, our king is back. And like, she immediately... recognizes that their king never died.
So it's like technically the challenge is still going.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't give up. Yeah. And he's alive.
But yeah, like Wakabi is like, he's still on Team Killmonger.
I'm like, dude, you some traitorous...
Yeah, like they were so close earlier. Like earlier in the film,
I thought they were buddies.
I thought they were too. Like, I mean, they were buddies, but he felt really betrayed by T'Challa not taking down
Killmonger just said, all right, get him. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude.
How's kind of a bummer.
This is your buddy from
He's
earlier.
Your king.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't give a shit. Where's his loyalty? Wakabi is like in a relationship with Okoye, Danai Gurira's character.
Yeah, they kind of just like touch on it like once or twice.
Yeah, like they mentioned it one point earlier, and then at the end, like when they're facing each other, and that's what I was talking about. She don't need no man. She straight up says no, and like she makes him kind of lay down his sword and everything at the end of the fight. He talked earlier about T'Challa's necklace thing, and like how the suit, like instead of like putting on the whole suit and the helmet separate thing, he just has the necklace that he wears, and then when he needs the suit, it kind of comes out of the necklace and forms around him. Yeah, and so later on, you know, but there were two statues there were three statues. One was his old costume. One was the necklace that he chooses, and the other one was a little bit like thicker banded necklace or whatever. And he says, not that one. That one's a little too flashy or whatever. A little
too showy.
It'll like draw too much attention. And that's the one that Killmonger goes for. And that when that suit comes on, it has a little bit of like the panther, like the leopard spot kind of design, and that looked really cool. Because in the comics, Killmonger has like a leopard or a jaguar or something as like his like pet slash. I don't know, like murder weapon. And like, yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat thing because I was like, I don't know if he ever wore that costume in the comics, but knowing that he had that jaguar, like it kind of made sense. Like, you know, the costume that he chose was kind of a neat, nice little homage to that. So they're going off and fighting for a while, and it's kind of like, yeah, there's the two very similar looking characters fighting, but it was a cool fight, and like I said, all the character motivation throughout the whole 2-hour movie building up to that worked. But for me, I just love seeing the Dora Milaje fighting, seeing Nakia and Shuri fighting in there, and Shuri using her technology and stuff, getting involved in that was really cool. Did they establish earlier that Daniel Kaluuya's character, Wakabi, has like a rhino? And then like he stands up on this thing in the middle of a fight and blows a horn, and like these three armored up rhinos like charge in. Like that was a little bit, I don't know, it was a little bit silly for me.
Because they were CGI rhinos?
Yeah, it just kind of really felt up. I mean, I know there's so much CGI in this movie, but having that be part of this big fight in the thing, like it was like I don't know. I mean, he was riding one at one point, and I'm sure other riders were on other ones, but like just seeing the three rhinos charge in the middle of there, I don't know why it didn't work for me. I mean, yeah, there's an element of it CG, but it just seemed really silly in that moment because this is all real fight, and like there's like real like, you know, emotions and all this stuff built into all this stuff, and then just the riding rhino stuff was a little bit too silly for me, very Jumanji-like. Yeah. Other than that, like the overall finale was great. You also have Everett Ross involved in there. He's shooting down the planes.
That's going to take off the...
Yeah, they established this thing early on where Shuri, like they have this kind of like this little platform of vibranium, and it comes up and builds like a chair or whatever out of the vibranium, and it essentially like, you know, you sit in it, and it's like Shuri's driving the car that Black Panther is riding on earlier in the movie, and now she does this for Everett Ross.
It's essentially
and it's like the plane
from like in Batman v Superman, where Alfred's kind of like
it's like that. But it was cool because the vibranium forms the shape of the chair and everything. It makes it feel very much like they're driving it, and like it was moving around the same way. And there's like this like holographic like, projection thing around them that kind of establishes the plane, and they see everything that's going on, and it was really cool. So that's his involvement in there, and I thought that was fine because they say he's like former Air Force and everything like that. Oh, and the Mountain Tribe shows up. He says we're not gonna. He says we're not gonna join your fight or whatever it is that we're staying out of this, and then he does show up in the end. Like, of course, yeah, I love that guy. Yeah, I like that character a lot. Winston Duke.
I wonder if he's gonna be. He's not in Infinity War, is he?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah. It'll be cool. I know we'll definitely see Danai Gurira in there.
She's in the trailer.
Yeah. We'll probably see a couple of people from Black Panther, but I'm excited to see anything Black Panther related. And it's so cool because we waited 2 years after Civil War for this movie. So now we only have to wait like 3 months, and we get to see more Black Panther along with everything else in the MCU. Yeah. So that's really exciting. Anything else you want to touch on this big fight scene? Before we get to the final moment of the fight scene between the Black Panther and Killmonger.
So what is it? Is when like the train's going by their
well, it isn't like the vibranium mines. their fight leads down into the mines
Mm-hmm.
where they're mining vibranium and stuff.
And there's some kind of deal with like the train tracks where, like,
There's
while the
some
train's
kind of
going
technology,
by,
like sound technology or something involved, maybe?
I think some kind of like something, and it kind of messes with the suit.
Yeah.
And kind of makes it not cover them all the way.
Yeah.
And like Killmonger and Black Panther are fighting, and there's like a knife
Yeah.
that they're kind of like fighting over, and so Black Panther kind of times it right, and he like kind of jumps into where, like, you know,
Yeah.
the suits, like, they're both just vulnerable. He gets the knife and he stabs Killmonger, like,
He takes that opportunity, yeah.
But then, like, after the fight, they're talking and they're kind of having like a bit of a heart to heart. And he's like, I just wanted to see Wakanda, kind of thing. So like in his last moments, he takes him all the way up to like the mountain or wherever.
Yeah, like the cliffside.
It's not exactly where that giant panther statue is it?
Maybe.
Was it? I can't remember.
I don't.
It's high up, so where you can see.
You're basically seeing like the sunset.
Yeah.
And everything over Wakanda,
Mm-hmm.
and it's such a beautiful moment. Just A, visually, it just looks stunning. But B, like that thing, like he was talking about his father
Mm-hmm.
taking him to see Wakanda, and like the Wakanda sunsets are like the most beautiful. That was like one of the the most emotional moments in the movie for me. Like that was a really cool, like really strong moment.
Yeah, and he says like I think we could still save you, and he and then
he still has the I think it was like a spearhead.
Was it? I
Or
thought
a
it was
knife.
a knife.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a dagger or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, he chooses to die. And he says some real powerful stuff. And I was like,
yeah, he's talking about like, you know, he doesn't want to be enslaved or anything like that, and
yeah, because he said like, oh, you're just gonna lock me up. I'd rather just die.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah, and then he pulls it out.
Yeah.
And it cuts to a wide shot, and the body just falls over. And oh man, it was such a powerful it was a bummer. And again, they killed both of the villains in this movie, and both of the villains were great.
Yeah.
Claw and Killmonger, and I would have loved to have seen one or both of them survive for to come back in future, because I always love when the villains come back again and again to make trouble for the heroes. So that was kind of a bummer. But
especially because Killmonger was like a Loki type villain, where I see your point of view, like it makes sense why you're doing this.
So, anything else you want to touch on about the end of the movie before we talk about the post-credit scenes?
No, it was a great time. Like any Marvel movie, I'll be getting it on Blu-ray, putting it right in the collection.
Definitely adding that to my MCU.
With this one. Yep.
Yeah. So there was 2 post-credit scenes. One was the first one was like the more important like kind of story one that's kind of tied into the film you just saw, and this one was a meeting in the United Nations. T'Challa was addressing them and basically saying that a big theme throughout the movie is talking about Wakanda hiding away from the rest of the world and not helping the people that they could help, like their people, essentially, like the African Americans, the Africans all over the world, like how they don't help them and everything. And it's kind of like him establishing that they're going to be more of a, add more of like an outreach type thing to the rest of the world and offer their stuff. And then somebody asks like, oh, what can your country possibly have to offer us? And he kind of smiles.
He does his little cute, little smirk.
And
he's always doing a little cute smirk.
And the moment,
cute little mouth.
Okay. Calm down. I could have sworn that he was about to be like, I am Black Panther. It was like a very
like the
I am Iron Man kind of moment. And I was like, that kind of would have been a neat, full circle kind of thing. But
because it's the last one before Infinity War.
And speaking of Infinity War, the final moment in the trailer is you see like these 3 little kids looking over somebody who's asleep in like a hut.
And first you're like, what are they looking at?
Yeah.
That would be so interesting.
Yeah, then you cut outside and Shuri is there and she's standing outside, the kids run out laughing and she's like, oh, you leave that man alone kind of thing. And then he comes out and it's Bucky.
Yep.
One-arm Bucky.
One-arm Bucky.
It was interesting because I was expecting to see Bucky show up at some point in the movie because it just makes sense because the last we saw the post-credit scene of Civil War, he was in Wakanda. I thought he was on like Frozen and Stasis or whatever, something like that. But he's just like in a hut chilling or whatever.
Here's what I kind of thought would happen like overall.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so like after Civil War, they kind of put him in the thing. He's like, okay, that was really intense. Let me just and then like Black Panther wakes him up. Aliens, come on out, we need you.
Thanos. Wakes him up. Yeah, probably nice to just give him like some peace and quiet, not Frozen or whatever. Just let him chill and like just have a nice
just wake up. Aliens, come on.
Just relax in like a beautiful location.
Yeah,
it's a nice little vacation.
He's
for
just
him
like hanging out by a lake,
Yeah.
Maybe having a nice coffee in the morning.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't it kind of feel like, him and Shuri had a little bit of a thing going there? Like,
Maybe.
I don't know, like, I mean, it's very, because they do establish early on in the movie, the very beginning of the movie, the first time you see T'Challa, he's on his plane. He's watching some news footage about his father dying, and they're saying 1 week ago. So I think this movie takes place, at least from the beginning of it, is like 1 week after Civil War.
Okay.
So there's not it's not the 2 years in real time that we've waited. So I don't know. So it's pretty quick. So I don't know how that post-credit scene, I don't know how much later after Civil War that is, but I mean, Bucky looks a lot better.
He does.
But I don't know. It seemed like, they had a nice little back and forth going there, like for like that little brief scene, and it just kind of seemed like maybe there's some chemistry there.
We'll see.
It'd be cool. Like, they're both great characters that like they don't really not really spoken for elsewhere in the MCU.
No.
So it's kind of cool.
She can build him that arm and give him a nice little ring.
Yeah, she's definitely gonna get
like do a little.
You're joking about that. Like, what if she builds him a new arm and there's a ring on the arm? It's like a hint kind of thing. That'd be funny. But no, I think that would be a great relationship because they're both cool
the phone
characters.
number embedded in the.
Okay. Any final thoughts on Black Panther?
Other than just I really enjoyed it, and I'll be looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'm going to look for the second go around. We did our ratings on the non-spoiler review, but we'll go ahead and say them again. I gave it a 9 out of 10 heart-shaped herbs, and you gave it
9 out of 10 sweet necklaces.
Sweet-ass necklaces.
Sweet-ass vibranium necklaces.
All right, if you like this review, do us a favor, like this video, and subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to the Amazing Nerdiverse podcast on iTunes and leave us a review so we can help people find the show. Go to theamazingnerdiverse.com. Follow us online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff will be at the bottom. Until next time, I'm Jeff Grant.
I'm Steven Tucker.
Catch you right here next time in the Amazing Nerdiverse.
Rocket Raccoon.
Tried to cut off my plums. Those are my plums.